Hi guys, welcome to Indra Pearl YouTube channel. In this channel, we post tutorials that are very detailed, beginner friendly and very easy to understand. So in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this lovely bustier with a double keyhole yoke. It is so simple and beginner friendly. So if you want to know how it was achieved, please watch till the end. And if today is your first time on this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on notification bell so you get notified whenever we post a new video. And also don't forget to drop a like and a comment. So first I'm going to go ahead to draw the front of the bustier on this pattern paper you see here. The first I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw a straight horizontal line at the top, which is going to serve as the shoulder line. Next I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder divided by 2 at this point and mark. After marking it, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Next I'll go ahead to insert my armhole depth, which is 7.5. I'll go ahead to mark it at this point, after which I'll connect the 2 points together with a straight line. But before then, I'll be marking my shoulder divided by 2 at this point also, so that I'll be able to draw a straight line. Next I'm going to go ahead to connect it with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to label this part as the chest line. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do after doing this is to insert my vertical measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to measure my shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waist, which is also the half length. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line with my ruler like this. After drawing the line, I'll label this part as the bust point. Here is the under bust, while this part here is going to serve as the waistline or the half length line. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my dart. I'm going to go ahead to draw the dart, and in doing that, first I'll be inserting half of my nipple to nipple measurement. So I'll divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2, and I'll go ahead to mark it on the chest line and also on the waistline. After which I'll go ahead to connect it with my ruler like this. So after connecting the 2 points together, next I'm going to go ahead to do is to take out the dart, and in doing that I'll be marking 1 inch on the under bust on both sides like this, and I'm going to go over to the waist now and mark 0.5 inch on both sides like this, after which I'll connect the points together with my ruler like this. Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to come down by 1 inch from the bust point line, then I'll connect to the under bust line using the curved part of my ruler like this. So this is what we are going to be having at this point. So next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the upper part of the bustier. The first thing I'll be doing is to determine the depth of the yoke I'll be making. So for me, I'm going to go ahead to mark 6.5 inch. If you want yours to be deeper than this, you can make it 7 or 8 inch depending on how much cleavage you are willing to show. Next I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line with my ruler like this. So after drawing the line, I'm going to go ahead to extend this nipple to nipple line with my ruler like this. So next I'm going to go ahead to do is to tighten the overbust, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to measure 0.5 inch on both sides this way. Then I'll go ahead to connect it with my bust point using my ruler like this. So basically this is what the dart is going to look like. Next I'm going to go ahead to draw the neckline. So for me, I'm going to be marking a neck width of 3.5 inch for the front of the bustier. So I'll go ahead to mark it at this point. After marking it, I'll go ahead to draw the shoulder slope with my ruler like this. So next I'll be drawing the V neckline for the bustier. So I'm going to be going in by 0.25 inch at this point. If you want it to be 0.5 inch, you can go ahead depending on how much space you want in between. After that, I'll connect to the neck width using my ruler like this to draw the V neckline. So this is what we are going to be having. So next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to determine the placement of the keyhole, and in doing that I'll be going in by 2 inch from my neckline this way. Then from this second dart leg here, I'll be going out by 1 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to mark. So what I did was to go in by 2 inch from this neckline, and I went out by 1 inch from this dart leg. Next I'm going to go ahead to determine how wide I want the keyhole to be. So for me, I'm going to be coming down by 3.5 inch. If you want it wider, you can come down by 3 inch if that's what you want. Next I'll locate the midpoint between these 2 points I marked on this point, I'm going to go ahead to mark the midpoint. Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to also go ahead to locate the same midpoint at this 3.5 inch I came down by from the shoulder line, after which I'll go ahead to connect it to this part using my ruler like this. I'm going to go ahead to draw the simple triangle with my ruler like this. I hope this is clear. So this is what the keyhole is going to look like after drawing it. So next I'm going to go ahead to insert my bust and waist circumference measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to insert my bust divided by 4 on the chest line. So my bust divided by 4 is 8.75. I'm going to go ahead to mark it at this point. After marking it, I'll go ahead to measure what I have on this dart area and I'll replace it on the side like this. Next I'll move to the waistline. I'll be inserting my waist divided by 4 on the waistline. I'll go ahead to mark it. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing. I'll measure what I have on this dart area and replace it on the side, after which I'll connect my bust to the waist using my ruler like this. Next I'm going to go ahead to insert my sewing allowance of 1.5 inch on the chest line and also on the waistline, after which I'll connect the 2 points together with my ruler. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the armhole. So what I'll be doing is to replace what I took out here on the armhole. So I took out 1 inch there. I'm going to go ahead to replace it on this side with my ruler like this to avoid shortage when I'm joining the yoke to the main bodice. Next I'm going to go ahead to draw my armhole like this. This is what the bustier is going to look like. So after joining the yoke to the main bodice, I'm going to go ahead to trim the armhole. So if you notice, I didn't draw any front armhole on this. I'm going to be trimming the armhole after I'm done joining the yoke to the main bodice. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So just watch where I'll be cutting out carefully to avoid cutting the wrong side. After cutting, this is what we are going to be having. So when you place them together, this is what you should have. As you can see, the armhole is aligning because of the extension we did at this point. So whatever you take out for the darts, you need to replace it to avoid shortage when you are sewing. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draft the back of the bustier. For the back, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert my zipper allowance of 1.5 inch on the center back. So I'm going to go ahead to mark 1.5 inch like you see me doing in the video. After marking it, I'll connect the point together with my ruler using a straight line like this. So the next I'll be doing is to insert my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'll be starting from this point and I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder divided by 2 and mark. After marking, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then I'll go ahead to insert my armhole depth, after which I'll connect it with my ruler like this. So next I'll be inserting my vertical measurement. So I'll be measuring my shoulder to bust point, which is 10.25. I'll go ahead to mark it, then shoulder to my waist, I'll mark it. After marking it, I'll go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line with my ruler like this. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust measurement on this part. I'm going to go ahead to mark my bust divided by 4. Then I'll mark my sewing allowance of 1.5 inch like this. Then I'll move over to the waist. I'll be marking my waist divided by 4. I'm going to go ahead to mark, then plus 1 inch for waist dart and 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to connect it with my ruler like this using a straight line. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert my waist dart. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw this chest line to this point this way. After which, I'll go ahead to insert half of my nipple to nipple measurement on the chest line and on the waistline. Next, I'll go ahead to connect the 2 points together with my ruler like this. After connecting it, I'm going to be taking out a waist dart of 0.5 inch on both sides like this. Then I'll go ahead to connect it with my chest line like you see me doing in the video. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to draw the neckline. So the neck width for the front and the back is the same thing. I'm marking a neck width of 3.5 like I did for the front. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert the neck depth. You can go ahead to draw whatever neckline you like at this point, but for me, I'm going to go ahead to draw a simple square neckline like you see me doing in the video. After drawing the neckline, I'm going to go ahead to draw my shoulder slope like this. So this is what the back is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the back armhole with my ruler like you see me doing. Next, I'm going to go ahead to eliminate the zipper bulge to avoid having a bulge on the back of your gown. What you are going to go ahead to do is to go in by 0.5 inch on the waistline. Then you go ahead to connect to your chest line using your ruler like this. Next, you are going to go ahead to retake your zipper allowance of 1.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to retake my zipper allowance of 1.5 inch all the way down. Then I'm going to go ahead to withdraw a new zipper allowance. So as you can see, I'm taking the 1.5 inch. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to connect the point I just marked with my ruler like this. So this point I'm marking here is going to serve as the new zipper allowance. So when fixing your zip, make sure you follow what you have here, and remember to replace the 0.5 inch you went in by on the waistline on the side. I forgot to do that, but whatever you went in by at that point, you will need to replace it to avoid shortage. Next, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the back. So after cutting, this is what the back is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut my main fabric using the pattern that was drafted. After cutting the front, this is what it's going to look like. I did an allowance of 0.5 inch on this part. You see me touching like this, and also on the yoke I added allowance on this part and also on this side and on the shoulder line, and I cut 4 pieces for the yoke because I'm using the same fabric to line the yoke. But if you don't want to use the same fabric, you can go ahead to cut just 2 pieces. And here I have the back. I also went ahead to add a seam allowance of 0.5 inch on the waistline and also on the shoulder. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach my wording to my bustier. I'm going to be attaching the wording to the bustier, after which I'll come back to show you what to do next. And also you'll be cutting your lining using this main fabric that you've already cut out. So I'm going ahead to attach my wording to my fabric, and this is what it is going to look like. So when placing your wording to your fabric, make sure it is 0.5 inch away from the neckline so that you will have enough allowance to sew when it comes to sewing. So this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go over my sewing machine to join the side to the center panel this way. So you'll be placing it, making sure that the good face is facing each other. Then you go ahead to sew it up, and I'll also be doing the same thing for the other side. And also for my lining, I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing. I'm going to be joining the center to the side this way. I'll go ahead to close it up, and I'll do the same thing for the other side, after which I'll open up the seam, give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. After joining the center to the side panel, this is what we are going to be having. I also went ahead to open up the seam and give it a good press. This is what it looks like. As you can see, the curves came out very well and it's looking so beautiful already. I also went ahead to do the same thing for the lining. This is what it looks like. I also joined the side to the center part of the lining. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the yoke. So here I have the yoke. I will be attaching the yoke to the bustier this way. But before then, I'm going to go ahead to finish up the neckline for the yoke. So when cutting your yoke, you need to cut 4 pieces. If you're using the main fabric as the lining, you will need to cut 4 pieces. But if you're cutting the lining separately, you need to cut 2 pieces of it. But for me, I'm using the same fabric as the lining for the yoke. Make sure you take note of the part that is going to be at the neck part. For me, the longer part is going to be on the neck area, and this is what it is going to look like when it is being attached to the bustier. But before attaching it to the bustier, I'm going to go on my sewing machine to finish up the neckline and also close up this keyhole area. And in doing that, first I'm going to go ahead to turn it, making sure that the good face of my fabric is facing each other this way. Then I'll go over my sewing machine to close up the neck area and also the keyhole area. And I'll also be doing the same thing for the other side also. After closing up the neck area and the keyhole area, I'm going to go ahead to knot the keyhole area, turn it over to the good face, give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after finishing up the neckline and the keyhole area, this is what we are going to be having. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and very neat. And also don't forget to give it a good press. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach it to my bustier. So first I'm going to be placing it this way. So whatever you have on this side should be ×2 of what you went in by while drafting. So for me, I went in by 0.25 inch. When you open it up, you're going to be having 0.5 inch, and that is what I have at this point. So make sure what you have there is ×2 of whatever you went in by while drafting. So next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the yoke to the bustier. And in doing that, what I'm going to be doing is to place it on it this way. Then I'll go ahead to secure it with my pin. So I'm going to be placing it like this. Then I'll secure it with my pin, and I'll be doing the same thing for the other part also. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach my lining to it. So I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on it this way. When placing the lining, make sure that the good face of the lining is facing the good face of your fabric, and sew on this part. And also I'm going to go ahead to sew the side also. After which I'll turn it over to the good face, give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after attaching the yoke and the lining to the bustier, this is what we are going to be having, and this is what the inner part is going to look like. As you can see, it's looking so neat and very beautiful already. This is what you should have after doing yours. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to trim the armhole, and in doing that I'm going to be placing my bustier this way, making sure that the sides are aligning. I'm going to be folding it over this way, making sure that the sides are aligning. After which I'm going to go ahead to trim off at least 0.5 inch on the armhole area, so that when the dress is being worn, the armhole will fit in properly. So I'm going to go ahead to trim it like you see me doing in the video. So after trimming it, this is what we are going to be having. So this is what you are going to be having after trimming it. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the back of the bustier. So here I have the back of the bustier. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to finish up the neckline, the zipper area, and also the sides of the bustier. And in doing that, first I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on my fabric this way, making sure that my lining is facing the good face of my fabric. After placing them together this way, I'm going to go over my sewing machine to finish up the neckline, the zipper area, and also the side. After doing that, I'll give it a good press, turn it over to the good face, after which I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So here I have the back. I've gone ahead to finish up the neckline of the back. I also closed up the zipper area, the side, and I also went ahead to sew in the waist that, and this is what we are going to be having. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach this bustier I have here to this skirt I've already drafted. This is a dartless pencil skirt, and I'm going to be dropping a tutorial on how to cut and sew this dartless pencil skirt you see here. So I'm going to go ahead to attach the bustier to the skirt part like you see me doing in the video, and I'll be doing the same thing for the back also. So before joining your upper bodice to your skirt part or to your peplum, make sure you check the back to be sure that they are equal to avoid shortage while drafting. So this is what I always do before I do that. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to join the upper bodice to the skirt part, then I'll show you what the gown look like. So here I have the final look of the gown, looking so beautiful and very lovely. In my next tutorial, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this dartless pencil skirt you see here. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to drop a like and a comment. And also, if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial.